y'all. It's tea time with
Kelly.
Tea.
So, ladies, what you sipping on?
All have water. Wait, do we all have water tonight?
Christmas cheer.
Oh, triplets!
Look at everybody trying to have a hydration moment. Okay.
We be hydrating.
Tonight's episode is sponsored by water, clearly. Thank you, JC.
No
Appreciate
additives.
it.
We wearing black tonight.
So I have Who is Sassy Silverman shirt. I've been jellying y'all shirts. So I finally went and ordered my I Speak Fluent Urban Fiction and Black Romance
And black
shirt.
romance. We
I
love
it.
that.
Okay, so y'all remember the last episode when we were talking about what would be the name of our memoirs, and mine would be, oh shit, I forgot. We quite literally talked about it all together, like, go get your shirt. And I pulled up the website. I think I put it in the cart, and then I saw a butterfly or something, and then I never got it. And then Lee was like, my shirt came, and I was like, we got
They're
shirts?
actually on sale today. She said use code Big Sister 25 if you want
Lord.
to try again.
That's gonna be another anecdote.
Please don't forget.
Anecdote in my memoir. Like, shit, I forgot. Again.
Got again.
What she got on black tea?
Today I'm just wearing my shirt that I got from the Boozy Bookstore.
Bookstore?
Mm-hmm. That's where I first had met Lishandra and Lynn.
I know.
Going to Charlotte to meet strangers and staying in the house with them.
Confirming if they are or not AI.
We got to do a better job of confirming before we're in such close quarters for the weekend.
No, y'all got to do a better job. I was very apprehensive. I didn't know what you two serial killers were going to
And
be
when you met us, we was in close quarters because we was all getting in your car.
Yeah. But I will say, if Rugger had been like a doll, we would have been done. Like, if I would have looked in there and you'd have been like, oh, he's sleeping, and had him like all covered up, I'd have been like, sis, no. I need to see this child move. I need to see. You're not going to get in my back seat and then I'm not going to die.
No,
Everyone's going to
kill. It was a cute little thing too.
I can't even say you watch too much TV. You read too many thrillers.
She does.
Trust no one. I can't do it. Well,
Killer.
so I would like to premiere for my sugar daddy, aka T, my bookmark purse. So in case you did not know, T was like, I'm looking for a sugar baby. And I was like, fun fact, I want a sugar mama. And she buys me things. And it's a really good arrangement for me. Shout out to author LB Gaines. This is my 3 months in a crop. But the bookmark, the original bookmark, let's start there. If you did not know, is turns your favorite book into a purse. And I have it in brown and I have it in black. And the black one is really cute. It's just much longer. It's hard to show that one, but yeah, soup's cute. It makes your favorite book into an accessory. So yeah. And so thanks, Boo.
You're most welcome.
And then also thanks, LB Gaines, because there's my book.
You're welcome, Stink.
Get my life together. Hold on.
Lishandra.
Huh?
What you been reading good this week?
I want to say a book, but I don't want to be accosted by one
because I want you to turn your lips up. I want you to. I want you to say it. No, it's okay. You vibed with it differently. It's fine. This is a safe space. It's a safe space. It is.
Because I'm not really sure that it is. But I'm gonna say it anyway. Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. So Kelly has her wheel, and her wheel landed on Skin of the Sea, which is a book that actually has been on my bookshelf for a long time. So I was really excited. It's one of those books that has a beautiful black girl on the cover. Y'all know how we feel.
And that's why we all have it.
That's why we all have it.
Yeah, the cover is beautiful. And so Kelly had me reading it. First, I was dragging my feet, okay? Because
dragging air.
To be fair, I started the audiobook and I was multitasking and it was 15th century. And then I looked up and it said somebody's mouth was open with a row of teeth. And I'm like, is it a person? I was so confused. So I put it to the side, need to focus, right? Or need to tandem read or need to listen while I'm doing nothing else. And I put it off for a week and Kelly was getting frustrated because come on, do you go here or do you not go here? But when I finally like picked it up and like I focused for those first 2 or 3 chapters and then I was cooking with grease, I realized I was in my element. Y'all know I'm a historian. I love everything about history. I love that we got the real rich history of the Yoruba people. I love that we got real rich history of Orishas. Now, of course, the author does tell us a part of it is her like, she did some research and part of it's her imagination. But I love books where it doesn't just tell you things, like it wants you to be smart enough to figure things out and fill in the gaps. And I'm not even a quest girly, I'm a trial girly, but it was a quest. And I was invested in the quest, okay? And I had a great time. Could the pacing been better? Yeah. But I think it was really rich history, really rich world building. And when it picked up, baby, it never let me go. It never let me go. And a book is good to me when I had already downloaded the next book, the next audiobook before I was even done with the first. I even have the second really pretty cover in my cart on bookoutlet.com.
Oh, I just pressed purchase on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you sent that, I was like, and wait, did I hit
Need
purchase?
that.
Only reason why I didn't purchase it yet is I have 36 other books in my cart. I have to figure out which ones I'm getting rid of.
I got $35 worth. Whatever gets me free shipping is how much I'm willing to spend.
That's fair. That's
That's
fair. Because we would quite literally buy a $15 book to save $7 in shipping.
For sure.
Yeah, because you get more for your money. But y'all remember I was on my book buying ban. But before my book buying ban, I used to buy books from Book Outlet every week. So what I used to do during my ban, the ban is still amongst us, is I
Is
used to.
it?
It is because, to be fair, the only time I bought books this year was at an actual book event, which I said.
Which was an exception. Yes.
So yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I have done really good. Now I
You
have
have done.
bought
Oh,
I
so
have
is
bought
Book
books.
Outlet throwing a book event?
Yes.
No,
At
but
$5.99 book.
that's what I'm saying. I really need to just purchase this one book, but anywho, I have not purchased books outside of book events unless I'm purchasing author copies to mail books to other people, but that doesn't count because people paid for my book. But that's all. But anyways, I'm distracted. I like that book, dang it.
I
I
love
like
the
it.
justification that you came up with. So it's fantastic.
I liked it. How about you, Killa? What you been reading that's good?
So I got back in my thriller bag because, yeah, I was romanced out and I'm gearing up for spooky
And it wasn't even
season.
our fault this time why she was reading so much romance. It
Yeah, I'm
wasn't
romanced out
our
too.
fault.
That damn
I'm
wheel.
romanced
It
out too.
was the wheel gives and it takes. Like, it's like you might like what you're gonna get. Either way, you finna eat it. Cause
But
golly,
your
but
last few seem a little scary, so that's good for you.
scary. Anyway, so I did Gray After Dark by Noelle. I want to say it's Ely. It might be pronounced Eiley. It was pretty good. I was not searching, but the cover pulled me in and it was an audiobook. And so I was like, I'm here, you're here. Why not just do this thing?
We're both here.
So
Yeah.
what gets you on the thriller cover? Like lots of fog?
Yeah. Like
Huh?
if it looks
Like somebody could literally jump through the fog and get you. You're like, oh yeah, this is my
I just want it to look very just like
ominous.
yes, that would be the word. Like I want to when I look at it, I don't like I said, I don't need to have like a scary thing on the front because again, I'm not a horror fan. I like
Right.
suspense. So if it's like an eerie vehicle or a house, like, and there's like the fog and yeah, those type of things, I do enjoy that.
House, what are you talking about, Willis?
Like on Brandon Massey's Nana. Isn't
No,
that
I
what
know
it's
what you're
called?
Yes.
talking about, but
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's right there
Correct.
too. I'm not gonna go get it because I always get out of
Don't you
focus.
dare. You leave
There's
that evil thing right over there.
she's in a graveyard and it's like a shadowy figure. Yeah, I like that. And that's what made me purchase. I think that was actually a gift, but that's what made me put it on my TBR. But yeah, so with this one, it was kind of a unique story. It did have some lulls in it, but I think I told y'all in the group chat, like my dad has this theory and it cracks me up because it's super sexist, but I found it to be rather true in media. And he's always like, if you pay attention, problems start in movies when a woman doesn't listen. And it'd be like, the guy would be like, stay here. I'm gonna go check on the sound. And she's like, you don't tell me what to do. I'm gonna come fight. And now he's trying to save you and fight the bad guy. And I'm like, I'm watching all these movies. I'm reading all these books. Parachutes. Tolly did it too. He was like, stay in a room. And she was like, who? Who you telling what to do? Baby, I'm a whole killer. Quit playing with me. And so that book was a definitely situation where she effed around and found out. She was told she was working at this summer camp. I mean, a resort. And when they found out she had been jogging in the woods, it's at the Frank Church, I think is what it's called, which is like a 2.3 billion or million acre preserve. Like, this is actually a real place. I looked it up. It's huge. She was jogging out there and they were like, no, somebody went missing. They got mauled by a bear. And she was like, there are no bears out here. I've been hiking like my own life. I am an outdoorsman. They're like, please don't do it. And if you do, she did not listen. And
She
she
didn't.
did not listen, and she went out, and while she was swimming at the end of her hike in these said woods, 2 men come out and they were like, "Hey, you're coming with us. You're mine now." Very The Hills Have Eyes, very Doomsday Preppers, very Paul, we got us a good one, but she's gonna make a fine wife kind of situation. And yeah, so it was a page turner. Wasn't expecting it, but I enjoyed it. So yeah. Now I'm back focused though. I'm back to my TBR. I'm back. I'm back. I think. I'm gonna
Well,
focus.
I'm not reading anything like that. I have been reading a firefighter romance.
Is
Come
this
on now.
your 143?
This is Fire Station 143 by
This is
Danielle
book
Brooks. This is
3?
book 3. Now,
I've been
this is
seeing the
about
buzz. I've been seeing the buzz.
Me too.
Kevin and Joni, which I did not know, but it's having a little baby, and Joni is older, and I love that. What?
Baby telling a story is my favorite part of a story.
And he a stepdaddy.
Okay.
You just got
Put a
Kelly.
little bit of that on there. That makes it better.
You got Kelly excited.
Stepdaddy. And the little girl actually is dealing with dyslexia in the book.
Mm.
So there's a scene, not giving away too much, where she she needs to get out of somewhere, but of course, in a panic moment, she looks up at these signs and the letters are crip walking
Yeah.
and she don't know what to do. So, but yeah, it was a really good read. Danielle Brooks really has done a good job with this series. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Now, have you followed this series through all the pubs, or did you find it and now you're catching up with all 3 books?
So I found a friend in somebody's comment section randomly one night,
She
Lindo,
is the queen of lurking in somebody's comment section.
and we just wanted to read a book. It wasn't this book, but we read a book together and we were like, cool. She was like, so what about this book? Would you want to read this book with me? And it happened to be the second book of the series. So that's where I started in the second book with Deacon and
I just want you to try it, girl.
By accident.
And you were
and
fine.
you loved it. You
Did
were
you
fine.
die?
To be fair though, the ones I tried it were interconnected standalone. So like the cowboy book, for example, each were a different couple. So yes, it was book 3, but like the couples didn't go together. It was
Sure.
very much somebody starting at room 214 versus 3 months in a cry. You're not gonna die.
You're not,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure,
I
for
think it's
sure.
just your fantasy, girly. You're so used to things being sequential because in a fantasy, it's going to end on day 5 and pick up on day 6. But
you
it's
know
not
what it is?
everywhere.
It's that, but I'm very, very afraid to like be left out. So I was that kid growing up that didn't want to go to sleep because I was like, y'all are gonna do something as soon as I go to bed.
See, it
But
ain't
like,
so.
be quiet, Killa. So what I'm saying is, I'm so like, for example, like Jaquel J, right? If I would have skipped Capone and came in at Capadonna, and everybody is talking, or they're dropping like nicknames, or they're dropping like little like insiders, I would have had anxiety. But like everybody's laughing, I'm not laughing. I don't get it. Like I wouldn't laugh. I want to understand all of the things, and I think that's what drives me to have to read things in order.
That's unfortunate.
You see what I'm
That's
saying?
tragic.
I feel like we need to look into getting a 4th because I feel like I get ganged up on a lot.
We're never getting a 4th. I hope you squash that idea right now.
Ever. 2 against
But you
1.
know what?
That's been vetoed.
It could backfire anyway because my dog, we got Marley, and Marley really loved the heck out of Marcus, even though I did everything for her. And then I wanted another dog, someone who would love me, and they both love Marcus. They both ignore me around that.
Well, really, it's just you.
I was gonna say, but I feel like Lee creates these scenarios to where she's the victim every single.
Well, I'm not always the victim.
what you do. It,
Oh, I know, I
and then
know.
it's like, and it's the fact that she loves to, she's like a sleeper cell. When she comes about, it's always like pleasant and rainbows. And it's like, I'm going to drop some things. And again, we're not even going to hash up the Game of Thrones slash blood. What
You see
it's
how she
supposed to
took
be?
over that chat and y'all still ain't read that book.
And the original book still hasn't happened. And then if we were to
Let
read
me
it,
jump in
then
that thread tomorrow.
she'd be personally victimized if we did. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. But again, that's why we love you. It's okay. Your feelings matter. I just think maybe the constant factor in these situations is typically
You're the common denominator.
Okay, so you guys want me to clock out and quit.
because that's what you heard.
Got it.
See, there's into the victim. We were like, we want you here. Like, no, you don't. No, no, no. It's okay. You balance this out though. We need this dynamic because if it was just T and I, it would just be very dry and aggressive for no reason. And that doesn't
For sure. Overly sarcastic for no reason.
we need this dynamic. You save it all.
You are the
You try
sugar
to
to our
elevate us
lemonade.
and then we just chop it down. That's just what we do.
For sure. For
You know
sure.
what? I wear sunglasses in the midst of the shade, so it's all good.
Because what we did not know is how many palm trees grew in Alabama and the Carolinas. We just didn't know. I did not know that they thrived in this climate,
Shady
but they
motherfucker.
do. All right. Well, did everybody go? I'm distracted. Okay. Well, so today we are going to talk about my book husband, my author husband, because whether he knows it or not, we go together real bad.
Your Shayla. My Shayla.
I was able to convince T. She clocked out on us, but
No,
essay
I
cause
didn't.
you did, and we're gonna courts in session. You did.
No, you refused to paste the last one. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it.
Anywho, listen, I was able to get my girls to come over to the dark side a little bit, and they each read their first essay Cosby. Lee, because she's a real one, came along for a second one. Take the compliment. Don't be extra. Just take the compliment.
But don't compliment me to be mean to T. I don't like that.
You can't pick and choose how you brought into the fold. Just go with it. T is fine. And I will still never forgive T for how she did this on Mermaid. I'm sorry. That girl said chapter title page.
How many
And I'm
times
done.
have you said, what's this about? And Lee goes, you're going to love this historical fiction. And you're like, count me out.
But see, the difference is I just won't even commit to it. You were like, I want to read it.
I did
I
want
have
to.
proof
I
in
thought
the
I did. It was a beautiful black girl on the cover. Who don't want to read that?
I'm starting to figure out that T, you just a little bit thirsty in the comment section. You can't stay out of somebody's comment section. That's your problem.
Hey, not too much for me.
Just
No,
scroll along.
I think T just had too many buddy reads. And not enough of them was with her home team. But I'm gonna let her slide. You see what I'm saying? She was overwhelmed because she was sowing her wild oats to the public and forgot about
So
home.
wild oats
Look,
to the
Prince
public.
Akeem. What do we do?
You don't do that.
Well, anyway, so I was very proud of you. I know that y'all are not big fans of things with a fear factor, but you trusted me, and for that I
Shouldn't.
appreciate.
Let the record show that I should have read something else. This was this is the problem though. When I give in to killer, it's always a serial killer, and I keep telling her I don't want that.
I do love a serial killer. That is quite literally one of my favorite subtropes. I love a serial killer.
I want to get that on a shirt, but I'm afraid it's gonna attract the wrong type of people.
Absolutely, don't
'Cause
you dare.
people out here, it would if we get it, it would have to be like in some type of code. I want to talk about S.A. Cosby mainly as a thriller lover who is shepherding you on your journey, and I have a convert. I have Lee. She's converted. T, not so much. But S.A. Cosby, one thing I will say, and again, I am not an authority on anything, is that he paints, I think, phenomenal word pictures. Like to read a description of his is to see it in your mind's eye with so much clarity. I think we talked about that with another episode, Lee, where you were saying with some of the fantasy you enjoy, they want you to fill in the gaps for some things. They want you to kind of discover it. Like I feel like S.A. Cosby gives it to you, and it's super great. What?
You hate history unless SA does it.
Can you call he goes back to like 1999. That's not history.
No. He gives us flashbacks before that. And All the Sinners Bleed, there's like intermissions where he's giving us facts and historical knowledge about the town that it takes place in Virginia. I'm not crazy. Do you remember that too?
Intermissions is not 17 chapters. Okay? Okay. Let's focus, okay, kids? Okay. Like I was saying, I think that he paints very good word pictures. I think that it can be graphic depending on the scene. We know that Lee did not appreciate the roots and the eye sockets and all that whatnot. But I think what he does is plays into some common themes in almost every book that he writes, right? I think they always take place in Virginia. And I'm fairly confident
Well,
that's where he's
she got to
from.
get him out of there because
They typically take place in Virginia, and I believe he's from Virginia. And so they always play into that setting of being in the South, right? The good, bad, and different of that. There's constantly consequences of people's actions. I think that is always a theme in the books that he writes. There's always a tense family dynamic. And there's also a lot around fathers and sons. Now, I don't know if that's projection from his part. And he needs to write a biography. He needs to do a memoir. They need to find more. And then it usually also speaks to generational things, right? What happened with the generations before. But at the end of the day, it usually ends in a little bit of justified violence and vengeance. And it makes us all question, why are we okay with the level of violence that's playing out in these stories? But it's tasty. So I've read all but one of his traditionally published catalogs. I said what I said to you, fix your face.
what's the one that you haven't read?
I have not read My Darkest Prayer.
See, and that seems like something I feel like I would be like, oh, okay, let me try this one, but that's gonna be terrible too. I don't
That
know. I don't know what
one,
it's about. I have no clue what it's about.
the cover
But
is
reading an
giving.
essay Cosby book, it would be just my luck.
The cover of My Darkest Prayer is definitely, in my opinion, his most ominous looking
It
cover,
is.
the most creepy looking cover. And for me, I'm not saying it's going to be about this, but things that have to do with religion and exorcism and stuff like that, baby, I don't mess with that. That's not the type of horror or thriller I mess with. And I'm not saying
Listen,
that's what it
I was
is.
almost out in what did I read?
You read
All the
All the
Sinners
Sinners
Bleed.
Bleed.
Because the guy was quoting script. I said, Lord, this is a demon calling. I can't do this.
And so that one has me a little nervous, but I will say I have Razor Blade Tears on my shelf. And I know Kelly already read it, but she loves that book. Maybe she would read it again if we did it. Not now. Give me a few months.
Yeah, I think I would.
But
I would.
I have it on my shelf.
I could probably do that now that I know everything of his and what I read. I could read. So here's the thing. Killer gotta read it first. And you know
I would have
me.
liked King of Ashes.
S.A. is
Yeah.
a good black man, and I would love to support him. And I don't mind buying his books. I would just hate to have all his books and have not read one because I'm scared.
But again, to me, they read kind of like Along Came a Spider. They remind me of crime
I ain't
drama
never read
novels.
Along Came a Spider. Why you referencing things that us thriller girlies ain't never read?
Well, anyway, I feel like even if you watch the movie version, like these are typically, there's a lot of times there's this element of law enforcement. There's usually an element of the criminal underbelly. So I feel like they're gritty. They're not scary, but again, to each his own. You keep throwing that face. I don't know. You keep making that face.
I think All the Sinners Bleed, you cannot call that. All the Sinners Bleed was a thriller.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
a thriller, but it's like I think I struggle when y'all say it's scary. To me, scary is gonna keep me up at night, and I'm like, this not.
Yeah, but just because it doesn't keep you up at night. We read a thriller with you, and that one too, it just happened to be earlier in the year where the sun stayed out later. But otherwise, that thing would have been off at 4 o'clock
Well, I'm
too.
gonna be honest with you, Tilla. Somebody, I don't want to spoil it. Somebody who's that close to the kids, having kids, that's scary as hell.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
that's horror.
Okay,
Horror.
it is, and so that kind of leads to one of the themes I think that come apart of this book. Every book that I've read, real enough that you can see this transpiring someplace, right? It has enough realism that you're like, to your point, this is unsettling because this could quite literally be somebody's everyday. So we'll start with y'all are funny. We'll start with All the Sinners Bleed since we all read that one. So we have Titus. Titus is from this local town. And the funny thing about it is, one of the earliest comments from this book was, I think, from T. And she said, "What is going on in Cherry County?"
Sharon County got some things going on.
She was like, "What is happening?" Now, the book does start with a shock factor, right? And I'm not going to give that away either. Which almost made me wanna close it, just fun fact. I was kinda like, I don't like that." What you say, "I don't like that." Eh, I don't like that. But I was like, "You know what? Trust the process, stay with this." So we have Titus. Titus is from Sharon, born and raised. He has family there. He leaves and makes it big with a federal job. Like, he's a big dog, but he's also running from some of his own demons. Comes back home and decides, "You know what? I'm gonna be Sharon's first Black sheriff." That's gonna come with its own challenges. And I think, again, it looks like the layers of these characters. It's not just like he's a hero. He's gonna be the first Black, sheriff, and he's gonna save the town. It's like, oh, I know it's gonna be some bull mess. This
People
place is
don't
it's
take kindly
stressful.
to first Black stuff.
For just as many people who voted for you, they're hoping you mess up and they probably got a tree waiting for you. Like, it was a very tense situation. His father, who at one point T was suspected, was a part of
He
the
was just being out too late.
he went to church too much.
You
The
can't
dad
have
went
what's
to
going
church
on
too
in your
much.
town and you was at church till 10:30.
Never suspected that. I never did. Not one time.
Listen, here's the thing though. The type of stuff they were talking about how the people would be like filleted, like certain cuts you would do when hunting deer. And that's what country people do. So you literally have to suspect that it could be anybody who knows how to do this.
That's
What
true.
got him off the hook was that Daddy got a bad hip. So he
Yeah, I
wasn't
said the man, he was not
what?
even healthy. And you was like, he got a limp because he got a knife in his pocket. You
Listen, I
just
didn't
was not
know. I
trusting.
didn't know. I thought listen, you never know. You never
True.
know.
Yeah.
So I just listen. Everybody was it was not innocent until proven guilty in my mind. You were all guilty, and let's see how you prove yourself to be innocent.
So definitely Titus was the main character. We don't have an FMC and an MMC, which is I love that about these books. So tell me what you like. Dig deep, T. What did you
So
like about
if the imagery wasn't scary, right? He does a great job with that. There's one point where he sees like a willow tree or something. And he's like, I know that tree. And in your mind, the way he described it, it's kind of like in a movie where you see the picture and then it fades into where you're actually in front of the tree and you're like, oh, how you do that? Like, right?
Yeah.
It was like his imagery is really, really good.
It's
He
very
describes
cinematic.
it in such a way where you are literally seeing it as if it was on a big screen. And I do appreciate that because sometimes the details be fuzzy and so my mind just it's like a blurred picture. It's like it's built, but I don't have any details about it. So it's literally just a blur walking through in my brain. But with his, it was kind of like, well, I've seen Sharon, but I know where this is at.
Even when he describes the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he describes the heat, and I'm like, I'm sitting in my car, I'm like, dang, is that hot?
Even the scene with his brother and they sitting on a porch drinking
The
moonshine.
moonshine.
Yeah.
Very much.
So I did enjoy that.
Okay. Anything else about it that you were like, you know what? That say might be on to something. The characters, the dynamics, the setting. She's like, nope, nope, nope. How about you, Lee? We're gonna come back to you. Because Lee came. This is when I felt Lee was starting to become a believer. She was like, I'm gonna come to service. I'm gonna sit in the back row though, because I'm not sure what you preaching, but I'm gonna show up.
So All the Sinners Bleed made it into my top 10 reads of 2025 because
It's
I'm a
phenomenal.
big believer if somebody can make me feel all of the emotions, despite my biggest one being fear, that's a damn good book. Now, does that mean I will ever reread the book? Maybe not. Not because it wasn't good, but because I don't want to relive some of those same things. But the book deserves its flowers. So some of the things I felt was like of empathy, of course, where I really empathized with Titus, right? We knew throughout the book he was holding a secret. I didn't expect to empathize with him as much as I did once I found out the secret. I also really appreciated his appeal to right or wrong. Like throughout this journey, it would have been easy for him to be just as biased as all the other sheriffs were in the town. He really tried to straddle that line of like, no, we're not doing it here. We're not going to rush and blame this person. We're not going to rush and besmirch the name of this teacher. We're going to go about everything nice and right and steady. I really enjoy him as a character, but in the same breath, he was so trifling to my girl. He was so
It's the
trifling.
fact that Lee can find the romance in any story.
For
No,
sure.
he was so no, but that's what I'm saying. He was so trifling to her. Like this definitely wasn't a romance, but he didn't even treat her with respect. And I mean, he didn't disrespect her. And I know that the dichotomy of that is strange, but he definitely didn't. Like, for all of the ways Titus was a stand up sheriff and stand up guy,
He
he
was
was
a
not.
terrible boyfriend.
He was a terrible boyfriend. But I even like the way, even though I did not empathize with the villain at all, I could empathize with seeing the way his mind went crazy because the way he was treated as a child, right? And the way in which, like, you want me to believe in religion, but the way religion was used against me to torture me, right? And you know, I'm a history buff, so I love even if they were small snippets, Kelly, the snippets where it was giving us like Sharon County's like history, right? To show you. And I believe all those historic moments will be like, Sharon County ain't ready for no black sheriff. They're not ready for a reckoning. They're not ready for the idea that white people can be questioned or that you're asking this white woman who is near her deathbed to like go ahead and dig back in her family secrets and tell the truth about things. It was very good. Like I felt it was an expansive read. I felt like it was a read I felt with all my senses. And for that, I got to give him his flowers because at this point, if SA comes out with something, I'm gonna read it. Now, am I gonna read it scared? Yeah.
Period.
Am I gonna read it before 5 o'clock? Yes. But am I gonna read it? Absolutely. Like I had requested his arc of King of Ashes just solely off of the immersive experience I had with All the Sinners Bleed. Now you know how people do the challenge, like your first versus your best from the author. I think I don't right now it's still All the Sinners Bleed for me. I mean, King of Ashes was really good, but I think that it was the first time I ever thought I could like fantasy. I mean, not fantasy, thrillers, right? It was the first time I thought I could ever be a thriller girly. So I think for that, it's probably nostalgic. It's probably always gonna be All the Sinners Bleed for me. But I can't wait to see if one of his other books could knock All the Sinners Bleed
For
off my
sure.
top square.
Yeah.
I'll definitely say you can read um Blacktop Wasteland any time of the day.
What about Razor Blade Tears?
Yeah, you could with that one too, because that one is a vigilante story for the most part. But again, deep rooted in background history and where they came, not like history as in like historical fiction, but just like their family history. Because I feel like that's always an underlying tone in all of his books. It's like you have a father and son. Oh, but did you know everything they went through? You have this family like King of Ashes, where every layer of this family there was secrets and
That was
just
a fudged up family, let me
yes,
tell
and it's
you.
like I think that he just does a really good job of, to your point, Lee, even when you're reading these things about this character, you're like, "Oh, he's a bum, but damn, I get it. I can see how he got there." And it's crazy because even with All the Sinners Bleed, I did empathize with the villain because of what he went through. Because, villains aren't born. You just don't wake up one day and you're like, I'm just gonna be this malicious person. And again, kids always is going to be something that hits me in my heart. So I'm like, he didn't have a fighting chance. Again, I'm not justifying any of his actions, but to your point, to have an author to have you, even if it's for a page, to be like, dang, aw, to the villain. I'm like, you are writing the hell out of this character. One thing I would ask is that there's also a lot of racial undertones in his books. I think it comes up in every one. Do you feel that he is glorifying it, or do you feel like he's just giving it to you in the context of this is just the reality and it's adding the richness to the story? Because I think we sometimes can forget when we're reading things that take place in certain areas. And I'm someone who lives in the South. Baby, it's real in 2025.
Yeah.
We can lie to ourselves and say it's not, but what was your experience reading two of the novels, Lee, and even UT1, with that simmering racial undertone? Because I know for a lot of people, especially when you represent what it is, it can be difficult to read those type of novels. How was your experience with that?
No, so as we're reading about Titus and he's having his inner monologue, just just trying to keep him his due north, right? Because he wants to veer and just knock him over the head. I'm the sheriff. I tell you what to do. It really is real because it's like because the town is not just me. It's obviously more of them than it is us. I have to do things the right way to prove my point to them that Black people aren't what you want to make them out to be, right? In a negative light. And that to Black people, yes, we can also do the things and do them well. Because I think, Titus, for the most, he was a great sheriff. He needed that time there. They needed that time there. But yeah, the racial undertones, even that one guy who just kept coming and he was like, you're not my superior. You're a board of supervisors and not my supervisor.
Yes, yeah.
You're
I
trying to
forgot all
police the
about him.
police. You can't do that. I know who you think you are and who you know, but I'm the police.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
not on
quite
my
literally the
team.
law.
And so, no, it gives very real. It doesn't give glorification. It gives it's matter of fact. These are the things that
Genuine
are.
experiences. Yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Lee?
I echo that. I'm going to mainly talk about the other book, King of Ashes. It wasn't as obvious in King of Ashes, all in your face, but it definitely comes up and I appreciated it. So for me, it was the Black family dynamic, the secrets, like the things like that's home business. You don't speak about that in public, right? But the ways in which the home business implodes and it just builds on itself because of all of the secrets, right? But you also, it takes place in a racist place where people are ignoring the disappearances of Black people. Nobody's even really worried or looking into his father's accident when it's very clear that he was hit by something, right? And it's just for me, I took that as like this tone of, oh, well, Black on Black crime. The Black people are hurting each other. Who cares, right? And it's like the only people who care about the dad or what's going on with this family is this Black family, right? And so for me, that was the commentary I took. And I think it was forefront intentional. And I can't imagine what his stories would be like without it. For one, like you said, it's in the South,
It's in the
right?
South, right?
It's in the South. And he's very, I love that he's putting Black men at the center of his stories, right? And you can't talk about a Black man's plight and not talk about that, not talk about, the way people perceive them, what their family dynamics are like, what their masculinity is like, how that could come off intimidating, right? Like for me, I thought King of Ashes read like a psychological thriller a little bit to me.
For sure.
And like, the main character in that person, the scariest place was his own mind, right? And so starting out with that power dynamic shift where like his like it, confessing his sins to like the priest, but the priest is really like a sex worker he's paying or, someone who he's planning to do this war. Pretty much, and I don't want to give away too
You
much.
might want to see a PhD. He has another path, okay? He was
So
getting help.
literally, the book literally starts out with like he has these like role play scenes with someone he's like role playing with who's playing like a priestess. It's very clear she's significantly older than him, right? And she's like doing these scenes where he's confessing and she's like torturing him and she's like, okay, all your sins are absolved. And he goes there instead of heading right home. He finds out his dad's in this big accident. His dad is alive, but damn near death, right? And instead of him getting his ass on a plane and heading back to Virginia, he stops there first to have a session, right? And so, like, because the way he feels like he has to purge his emotions and this, toxic masculinity trope, like, just all of it just builds into each other. And I can't believe from that moment at the beginning with that older woman, I can't believe I didn't figure out the end of the book from there. Let me just say that. But it was, now that I think about it, the more time you take to settle on an S.A. Cosby book, the more you're like, yeah, that was good.
Now, did you clock it from the beginning, Killer?
No.
Okay.
So I would say that a lot of times I'll be on the right road, right? I'm like, I'm in that direction. I just don't know what exit I'm getting off on. And
Okay.
so I usually will clock it on that page where it's going to be. That's when I'm like, oh, I see what's going to happen. But I think it's also because, to your point, Lee, and this kind of mirroring both of your comments actually. So we think about stereotypes and things like that, and I feel that I have seen some comments where people are like, why are his books always so heavy on race and this, that, and the third. Reality's reality, right? We got to quit saying like it's not a thing. But I think what I like about it is we can read these characters and say they're stereotypes, but I think he's showing you the depth of Black men, right? Like they're not just one thing, even if that's what they present on the outside. And so you have in King of Ashes, you have Roman, who was successful. He was a money manager. Like his job was making people money. He was that guy. But to your point, Lee, demons. The man had demons. And then you look at even with his whole entire family. His father, who was well known in the community, they run the Carruthers crematory. Like there are all these people, demons. His brother, who's like the stereotypical middle child, and all these things. It's like, so you get to see Black men, although it is sad what they're going through and the situations, but you're seeing like the hurt, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to fight through, and also at the same time making sure that they don't ever take a step in the wrong direction, because I'm also a Black man in society.
Killer is because Killer, like when I met her, she was just like, yes, S.A. Cosby. And I was like, I don't know who that is. And she was like, I have all his stuff. And I'm like,
Okay.
cool. And then I learned that he was a Black man, so now I'm interested. Okay.
And then she read 2 chapters and she was like,
You
and
can
no
count
longer
me out.
interested.
But Black man, I
Right.
got you.
But
I'm gonna
And
support
support
y'all heard
you.
his voice? He has such a nice, comforting
He
voice. Somebody
does.
recorded it when they was meeting with him.
Every time I see him at a signing, I'm like, brother, I get that you are being who you are. Please get a stylist. He got it.
He is very much worn out, ball
That's
cap,
exactly
flannel
who
shirt,
he is. And I don't want him to
jeans.
look like that at his book signings.
Listen, he said, you're going to get whatever I give you at this book signings.
And they take it. I've never been.
And bring your little funky
Because
book.
he don't know where North Carolina is, apparently.
All right. Well, again, I think the stories that he's telling are important stories for just
Absolutely.
so many reasons. And I think that, when you read reviews, which I typically don't because everyone has an opinion, everyone's entitled to it. I think that a lot of times I feel like people are not seeing the intention behind his work, if that makes sense. They focus on the racism, they focus on this. And I'm like, but are you reading the story? Are you
Right.
reading how this has to be talked about? This
Right.
needs to come about so that you can understand where the character's coming from and then the actions.
Yeah.
That's kind of going to be like my last talking point to talk through with you all. One thing that all his characters have in common is they're morally great, right? It's like good foundations in there somewhere. Not going to always make the best choices. Not always going to be due north. If I do make the choice, it might not always be for the right reasons. Specifically, more so around Roman Carruthers and King of Ashes, because he was arrogant, right? He quite literally thought because he was educated and successful that he can get tangled up with the criminal underbelly out there in these streets
And come out unscathed.
and
You
come
see
out
what I'm saying?
unscathed, because
He started getting cocky.
very arrogant and cocky with there being so much at play. So do you think that with having morally great characters, that adds to your experience when you're reading a novel like this? Because, Lee, you mentioned it yourself. When you start to empathize with characters, you're like, I shouldn't empathize. Y'all know I'm a sympathizer through and
You
through
know.
my core. But as a reader experiencing it and you're seeing like, okay, Black man, leader in this community, successful, why do you have these dilemmas with your character, and you're making good choices and actually being upstanding versus like, hey, I'm gonna make some shady choices. I'm gonna get a little dirty. I don't mind it. Me personally, I don't mind it.
I don't mind it either. I think the only thing that's hard is that I don't recall. Was this written in third person or first person?
I think it was third.
All I know is that I felt from the beginning the main character, King of Ashes, wasn't reliable. I felt that immediately, right? I felt that in the way he talked about himself, the way he portrayed himself, the way he was too hard on himself and the way he would switch up and he would justify his wrongdoing or justify his killings. He was another Mrs. Wiggins. So we had off her and we had off him and we had to when he got that girl. All I'm gonna say is I knew he was unreliable. And even though I didn't like him a lick, like I couldn't empathize with him. I didn't like him. It was still a really good story, right? And I think that Titus was likable. I could empathize with Titus, but I think that shows how much of a writer he is. I'm not always gonna give you a likable main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not always. But are you gonna ride with me? And the funny thing is in King of Ashes, I actually liked his screw up brother more
Dante.
than him. Like I empathize with him more, especially when we realize why he was taking all of the drugs he was taking,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't empathize with the character, but you can understand the character. I understood our main character, our cocky main character.
What about you with Titus?
I need you to re-ask the question.
With having morally great characters at the forefront, like how does that affect your experience with reading it? Do you wish that they were more just because they're Black men that they were just upstanding, or is it like, you know what? No, I'm good with having that.
So
Layer.
here's the thing is because it is thriller, I don't feel that I need a stand-up guy, right? In romance, you either got to be all the way not or all the way yes. I don't like a morally gray in romance, right? But in thriller, like that's the thrill of it. It's like sometimes he makes these really good decisions and sometimes he just is off the beaten path. So I enjoy it. Like as much as I talk about how scared I was reading All the Sinners
Upstairs.
Bleed, it really was a great read. It really was. I just can't go into it blind with Killa no more. I have to go after her. That's all I'm saying. I am going to read more. I just can't go in with you.
Well, I will say this, and then we can wrap it up. But Lee already mentioned how I felt about Razor Blade Tears. That was my first, and again, I think I just had that emotional attachment to it. I loved it. It is a phenomenal book. Just in
Okay.
case,
Well, that was Tea Time with
Kelly.
See?
Emily. See you next time.